you could just open it up. Not the day you wanted, but there's some positives, especially on special teams and some of the performances on the defensive side of the ball. Could you just open up with a comment on today?
Yeah, I mean, first off, just extremely, proud of our guys. We fought the whole game. We didn't give up. We were in some tough situations there. Hats off to Maryland. Really good. Coached really well. Really good football players over there. But, yeah, a few positives. I thought our defense really played well today. Extremely proud of Coach Dewhurst and his guys and what they were able to put together. I mean, they gave us a million opportunities to get right back in the game on offense, and we couldn't move the needle offensively. So proud of them. I thought kickoff return looked really, really good. Jay Sean Platt, I mean, we're a couple shoestring tackles away from hitting a couple bigger kick returns. So really proud of defense. In general, we got to be able to develop a little bit more of a pass rush. It's one area that I thought we did not do a great job of, was getting after the quarterback enough. And we had a couple busted coverages there that led to a couple big plays. But for the most part, I thought those guys flew around and did a really good job.
Question?
6 interceptions, it's a lot to grasp there, but what kind of led to that? Was it what Maryland was doing, or was there some mistakes that you guys made on your end?
Yeah, it was all on us. Yeah, I mean, 6 interceptions never happened in my career. A couple of just kind of some freak things. The sack ball flies right to the defensive end, pick six, or kind of those ones that just unfortunately happen. The last one down there in the red zone, Dom Henry falls on his route a little bit, stumbles, and so the ball goes straight to the defense. Unfortunate. One off the top of my head, we had Caden did overthrow a ball. Thought he made the right read. Guys there, he just overthrew it a little bit. We just got to detail it up and just get more accurate with the football, bottom line.
How do you bounce back into next week and make sure that with a young quarterback like Caden, make sure his head's on his shoulders heading into next week?
Yeah, I mean, it's a long season. I can promise you from our camp, we're not sitting here thinking that the season's over by any means. I told him I love him. He's a really good quarterback. I mean, that's what's the frustrating part a little bit is just he hadn't turned the ball over like that. He hasn't looked like that at all since we've had him. And so we got a long season, like you said. I talk about the word opportunity all the time. We're only guaranteed 12 of those, and opportunity one did not go the way we wanted it, clearly, but we got 11 more to go, and so we're gonna let this one sting for a little bit, but I've talked about him multiple times. He's a coach's kid. He's going to bounce back. He gets it. And again, I got full faith in him, 100%. I'm ready to get back to the drawing board with this next week.
We and you have talked about the size differential in the trenches between, the G6 and the P4. It seemed like there was a little bit of issue in that today with a lot of quick pressures. And schematically, it seems like you were trying to adjust for that as well. How do you go about doing that going forward, though?
Yeah, I mean, they did a really good job. Their defensive front was big, long, aggressive, We tried to chip them a couple times. We actually missed the chip, and then the tackle overplayed it, and we got safety. So it's kind of like just sloppy football by us, not detailed football. But again, first and foremost, we got to be able to dominate the line of scrimmage a little bit better. I was trying to slow the game down a little bit for Caden and run the ball, but we weren't getting much of a rush there. The numbers to me don't probably tell it right, but I mean, even there we popped a few late, but 32 carries, 77 yards, that ain't going to cut it. So we got to get better running the football, and again, I like our running backs. We've looked really good. I just think maybe their point of attack, their physicality a little bit shocked us, and we try to run a few on first down and got behind the chains a little bit there, and I got to be better calling plays.
How would you say the team kind of responded to your message in the locker room after the game?
They were great. Again, I'm extremely proud of our guys, extremely proud to be the head football coach here. There was, clearly a lot of disappointment, but I heard a lot of the word love in there. I love you guys. Let's go next week, all that kind of deal. We talk about being a family here, and we're a big family, and our guys love each other. And the whole game, it was fun for me to see, I thought defense had a lot of juice, and even whenever, like Tyler Stolsky, I can't tell how many times came over and was telling us in Belt Camp, like, hey, you're going to get this one, you got this one, you got this one, and so just to have that camaraderie and that love for each other, I think we're going to bounce back in a big way next week.
You were true to yourself. You went forward a bunch on fourth downs.
Yeah.
Obviously, you'd like to convert more, but
yeah,
that's the way you're going to be, isn't it? Aggressive?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately it's frustrating. The first half, clearly we were 0 for 3 in the first half, which was tough. And then, the second half, I keep using the word detail. We were in some calls that we really liked, and guys weren't running the routes to the depth we need to run them with. But we're going to be aggressive, like I said. We're an analytical team, but that's not why we do what we do. It's part of the reason why. But I'm going to be aggressive. Clearly, if I feel like we're not in a good situation, I can always back off of the analytics. But today I knew this was going to be a dogfight. I knew we were going to have to score a lot of points, and so I was going to be aggressive from the jump.
There was a lot of frustration, it seemed like, not just from Caden, but some of the other players, obviously through the course of the game as the score started to get away. What was your message to try to group everyone together and just try to make sure they finish strong despite what the scoreboard says?
Yeah, on the football field, just constant encouragement. I'm not a negative kind of guy. I'm going to always encourage my guys. I thought some of our younger defensive guys came out and made some really big plays, late in the game. And I was excited for those guys, and they were fired up to make those plays. And so during the game, I think you just got to keep a positive edge, and if your team gives up, that's when you feel like you're in trouble. And I know our team did not give up today. We battled to the end. I thought we continued to play football there late, even when the score was ugly. And then in the locker room, again, just talking about the word opportunity. We just lost opportunity number one. We got 11 more, and everything that we want for this season is still ahead of us. And so you got to go into it with a positive mindset. I'm not a dwell on it guy. I'm going to be very frustrated when I watch that tape. I know I'm going to be, and I'm going to coach it up tomorrow, and I'm going to move on to FAMU. And that's just my mentality, and that's how it's going to be every week, whether it's a big loss, big win, close loss. That's my mentality, and that's the mentality we're going to have here as our football team.
Health-wise, how did you guys make it out of this game?
Yeah, pretty good. Clearly I took Caden out there at the fourth quarter just because he'd gotten banged up a little bit. Nothing serious, but he took some shots. Was on the ground quite a bit, but I feel good about it. To my knowledge, we're pretty healthy, so that's another positive. Going to week 2.
You said that some of the receivers were running the depth of their routes that they should have been. Easton Messer obviously got the lion's share of the targets in the game. Does that open the door for a potential greater rotation within the wide receiver room as you head forward?
Not necessarily. I like to play our best players as much as they can. And if those guys get tired and they need a breather, we're going to rotate them. But man, Easton Messer's a hell of a football player. He had a nice day today. 19 targets. He had 15 catches. Thought he should have had probably a touchdown down there. That last interception that Caden worked the one-on-one. Unfortunately, it's one of those ones you look back and you had a split field call, and he took the one-on-one, which is part of what we do. And if you take the field throw, he's probably throwing Easton a touchdown right there in the red zone. But no, like I said, Easton's been great. Asad Wasim, I've been extremely proud of him. I've talked about him a ton all fall camp. He's had a great fall camp. He came up in a big way today a few times, and we got to keep getting these other guys going. I thought Dom Henry's looked really good in practice, and we couldn't quite get him going today, and that's on me. Again, I'm the play caller, right, and I'm the quarterback coach, and I've got to get all these guys going. I've got to detail it up on mine. I got to make sure they see it, and we're doing it the way that me and the quarterback want it done.
You mentioned Caden taking some hits. Is there any concern with the group that you had out there, or is it just a bad matchup?
No, it's a game of football, so they got us sometimes, we got them sometimes, and there's just a couple times where, like I said, we kind of just miss on an edge player, and you got a free runner to the quarterback, and the quarterback gets hit. So those are the things you got to, absolutely, take care of and get rid of those. You know what I mean? And you're gonna take a sack here and there. It's gonna happen. It's football. We got to try to, eliminate the unwarranted hits. You can't just miss on a defensive end and let him have a free run to the quarterback where he can't even get into that third drop and try to progress at all.